And they're off.
Live coverage of the 2025 Mountain Marathon race is brought to you by Hillcorp, Alaska. Hillcorp is proud to support Mountain Marathon and mountain runners from across our great state.
There she is giving out high fives.
Additional support provided by KTUU, KYES, and the Seward Chamber of Commerce. Other sponsors include the Alaska Pollock Fishery Alliance, the Alaska Railroad, the Alaska Miners Association, Royal Caribbean, and GCI.
Mountain Marathon champion.
And now, live from Seward, Alaska, here are Holly Brooks and Andrew Kastner.
Fans, to the 97th running of Mountain Marathon. This is going to be a race for the ages. We're so glad you could join us on America's birthday for the women's race just about 5 minutes away. I'm Andrew Kastner. On the call with me today is two-time Mountain Marathon champion and Olympic skier Holly Brooks. We're standing on 4th Avenue of Seward, Alaska. Population 2,500. But today the air crackles with the energy of 1,000 times that many. And they've come from all corners of the globe, drawn by a siren song of pain and a chance for glory. They've come for Mountain Marathon. Born from a barbet and fueled by Alaskan grit and stubborn determination, this isn't just a race, it's a reckoning. A brutal, unforgiving climb that takes you straight to the heavens, followed by a descent that dares you to survive. 5 kilometers. 5 kilometers that can break you. 5 kilometers that could make you a legend.
The women's field this year is deep and fierce. It's headlined by 27-year-old North Face and Alaskan athlete Claire Rhodes. She is here to defend her title, but the other women are not going to make it easy. Perhaps her biggest challenger is 23-year-old from Fairbanks, Kendall Kramer. She is going to give her a run for her money. Third place last year, Meg Inukuma of Palmer, Alaska, almost twice Kendall's age. These women are going to put the pressure on. They're going to lay down a great race for us. We can't wait.
Fans, we are live from Seward, Alaska, just a few minutes away now from the women's race. They are lining up at the start line. There's a nice overhead shot of the women's field. Wave 1 set to go in just a few minutes. We have a brutal and unforgiving course awaiting these women, and they are just seconds from the gun going. Holly, you were up on course earlier yesterday. What does the course look like that awaits these athletes?
The conditions for today's race are near perfect. It's 51 degrees and clear. We are going to have some great images from the race. We have drones, we have lots of cameras. It's going to be amazing. The uphill is in some of the best shape I've ever seen. It's weed whacked, it's wide, people can pass. The downhill, there's a shot of the downhill. There is a snow slide at the top. That's going to be fast and furious. I think there are a couple rocks in there, and it's really technical and challenging coming from the snow to the rocks. We have had a very dry spring and summer so far, and so the midpoint of the mountain before the gut is uncharacteristically hard, and so it's not as punchy and soft. So I think we're going to see some carnage. But the temperatures are perfect. The views are crystal clear, and the race is on.
And here's a drone shot from the mid-mountain. Like you said, Holly, that exit from the snowfield off the top is going to be interesting. The dust clouds will be pitter-pattering up the mountain, and we are off, ladies and gentlemen. 97th running of Mountain Marathon. underway. We've got Gumby. There's the wave 2 lining up, and we got wave 1 on course. We have 27 of the top 30 women returning this year. It is a stacked field. I can't wait to see who's going to put Claire Rhodes to the test. Aside from Claire Rhodes, Holly, who are your favorites in today's women's race?
Well, last year, Claire Rhodes and Kendall Kramer broke away from the field. At the top of the mountain, they had over 2 minutes on this field of women. Now, things changed on the downhill, right? Mount Marathon is a unique race in that it takes a little bit of road speed, it takes some uphill prowess, and it takes some downhill guts. And, you know, the winner usually can put together all 3 of those components. So it looks like we have two racers, you know, side by side, shoulder by shoulder, leading the group out. I believe that might be Kendall Kramer on the left, and I'm going to guess Claire Rhodes on the right, but we'll get a better vantage here in just a moment. The police car is leading them to the base of the mountain, letting all the spectators know that the race is on.
So I believe that is actually Kendall Kramer on the left in the yellow top. She is flanked by her UAF teammate Rosie Fordham in the white shorts, and both of them UAF skiers. Kendall Kramer coming off an NCAA championship run in skiing for University of Alaska Fairbanks, and Rosie Fordham skis for Australia. She had a breakthrough performance at the World Junior Championships in skiing, the first time an Australian ever got a medal at a major ski championships. Rosie Fordham did it in Chopario, Italy, with a 2nd place in the 10K freestyle. Very impressive. They're out here to try their running legs out. They may be having the Olympic run on the back of their mind with the Olympics coming up this winter in Italy. So we'll see how much they want to send it on the downhill, but they are going to be super strong on the up. Some of the other names that come to mind at the top is the 44-year-old Christy Marvin, mother who's been on the podium I don't know how many times. She's won it, I think, 3 times. Christy Marvin is going to be force to reckon with, always strong on the downhill, and has won many of the mountain running races that we have here in Alaska.
The women are bunched up, and they just took that transition from the pavement to the gravel. Up here, they're going to have their first choice. What route will they take? Mount Marathon is a unique race in that there is no set course. It's kind of a DIY, take your own pick. So right up here, we're actually going to see the field separate. Some of the field is going to head to their right, and they may opt for the roots, while others may kind of bank to the left and opt for the cliffs. So it's kind of a pick your own poison kind of a style here. So we have a group there. It looks like 5 or so women, and we'll see who chooses which route.
Yeah, they're just passing the water tanks now. That's the public water supply for the town of Seward, Alaska, and they are about to hit the steep part here, up and over the cliffs and into the vegetation. The vegetation is going to grow around them. I was also up the mountain early this morning, and it is hot. You may look at that top banner and see 57 degrees Fahrenheit, but I can tell you, when you're in the woods surrounded by vegetation, it is muggy, it is humid, your legs are pumping, you're working hard, and at least for me, the sweat was pouring off just trying to get in place to watch my kids race the junior race.
You know, you're going straight uphill, and it is the ultimate test. And the goal here is how hard can you go without pushing yourself over the top? It really is a red line.
First wave heading up the mountain. Again, the record time to be on the way up. plus or minus consideration, busy in the top runners. I'll keep you posted along the way. Halfway up the mountain at the midway point, I should have results. At the top, I should have results. And then we're going to come back down here for our final results. If you're not familiar with the mountain itself, if you look at it,
And welcome back to the live stream of the 97th running of Mount Marathon, presented by Hillcorp, Alaska. I'm Andrew Cassidy. With me is Holly Brooks. We now have all three waves of women started and headed their way up the mountain. There are 333 competitors taking their tasks up this hill and back down. We are super excited and glad you could join us for America's birthday. Here's a look probably at wave 2, now crashing against the cliffs and making their way into the vegetation towards the mid-mountain checkpoint. We will have some live timing updates for you, particularly from wave 1, and that will first come in at about the junior turnaround, the halfway point of the uphill portion.
Right now, the question is what is happening in the woods? The bottom half of the ascent is, I call it a tunnel of green. And so here we are, we're getting a little scene of some of the competitors. This looks like some of the competitors headed up the cliffs. So it's not quite our race leaders. They should be in the more narrow tunnel of vegetation. And the big question is, what is going to happen? So we're 8 minutes into the race for the elite wave, wave 1, and they get the leaders get to mid-mountain at about 20 minutes. Last year, Claire Rhodes and Kendall Kramer were separated by 1 second. They were shoulder for shoulder at that midpoint. They came through at 19 minutes and 58 and 19 minutes and 59 seconds respectively. So we are looking to see who is going to be climbing, who has their climbing legs pumping up the mountain today, Andrew.
Yeah, and I want to highlight the women's course record set by Allie McLaughlin. She was 31 years old back in 2022. Her record is 47 minutes, 9 seconds. And like I said, we'll have some time checks on the mid-mountain up. We'll be looking to compare the record time from Allie McLaughlin. She hit that mid-mountain point at 18 minutes, 42 seconds, so just under 10 minutes until we'll know whether or not we have a record-setting pace on our hands. As you said earlier, the course conditions could not be more perfect. I think there is a chance we could see some records broken today, and we are on the edge of our seats waiting here to see what happens next. Happy 4th of July to you, and welcome to the live stream presented by Hillcorp, Alaska. This is Mount Marathon. This is the World Championships of Mountain Running, one of the biggest sporting events right up there with the Iditarod that we see in the state of Alaska. There are thousands upon thousands of fans lining Jefferson Avenue, lining 4th Avenue, ready to cheer on their favorite athletes and marvel at their athleticism.
Mount Marathon had its first running in 1915, and it wasn't until 48 years later in 1963 that the women got a chance to take on this challenge. In 1963, Jane Trigg won the Mount Marathon race, the inaugural women's race, in 1 hour, 37 minutes, and 8 seconds. That was 62 years ago. In 1990, Nancy Pease held a record for 25 years. Her record was 50 minutes and 30 seconds before Emily Forsberg, a Swede living in Norway, coupled or married to Kilian Jornet, set a blazing new record of 47:48 in 2015. And then 7 years later, Allie McLaughlin of Colorado set the current record. And so, like Andrew said, we are waiting to see what kind of pace these women are on. The conditions are great. Someone weed whacked, I believe it was Clint McCool, weed whacked the up trail, and so that improves airflow. It makes it so women can actually pass each other and see each other on the up track. I will say, when I was on it yesterday, it seemed like there was a lot of erosion, so some of the roots were exposed, which made nice little footholds. The uphill felt more like a ladder than it ever has before. It was easier to get a foot in, easier to get a step without slipping. So the uphill is in fantastic shape.
Yeah, this mountain sees a lot of foot traffic, not only on race day, but in all the preparation that goes into this race. Every athlete needs to do at least one course preview required upon being able to enter the start line and go up this hill. You have to do the race course at least once, so it sees a lot of foot traffic. And when it's dry like this, there is erosion. We had some interesting snow events over the winter that also play a part, and it's always a factor. What's the snow field like at the top? There were some big glide cracks that acted like glaciers. They pushed huge piles of scree into this knee-high berm. Apparently, I have heard that the berm has been worn down a little bit. There is a pathway through it. And as well, just to the right of your screen, you can see some of the gut. An avalanche ripped down that and flattened out some of those cliffs they have to go. Now we got to look from the drone, overhead shot of our race leaders. And we are looking at a woman in blue shorts with a black top. Could be Claire Rhodes. I see the blonde hair. She is 27 years of age, our defending champion. She's been closer and closer to that win she got last year. She was 5th in 2022, 4th in 2023, and took down the win last year. She was only the 4th woman to ever break 50 minutes, an impressive feat. She was a little bit off the record in that, but still, to break that 50-minute mark is impressive.
As expected, chasing her down is 23-year-old Kendall Kramer, U.S. ski team member. As she just graduated from UAF, she had some stellar results in both running and skiing. And to be expected, she is chasing her down. I'm sure she is hoping to not let Claire Rhodes out of her sight. Like we said, last year they came through the midpoint 1 second apart. They have a little bit more of a gap, but Kendall can see her, and I'm sure she is going to try to rein her in.
Yeah, and Kendall Kramer took the win at Bird Ridge, one of our early season mountain running races. So Kendall can definitely blast on the up. We saw that last year. She put a little surge on Claire right at the top. Wasn't quite willing to send it into the downhill as much as Claire Rhodes was. So that opened the door for Claire to take that win. But Kendall, super fit, very strong climber. And yeah, it's interesting to see already Claire Rhodes with a little bit of a gap. I would have thought that those two would be together. Still haven't even hit the halfway mark of the uphill. It is an unrelenting climb at this point, and it keeps going, going, going.
If Kendall wants to stay in this race for the win, she is going to have to stay with Claire Rhodes and even gap her a little bit. Last year, they crested the top of the mountain 5 seconds apart, but then there was a pretty big difference on the downhill. Claire was over a minute faster than Kendall on the descent, and so time will tell what's going to happen. In the back of Kendall's mind, this is an Olympic year for cross-country running, or cross-country skiing, I'm sorry. The Olympics, the 2026 Olympics will be in Italy, Milan Cortina, and I know one of the Olympic years, I actually sat out of this race just because I was worried about injury.
There's a lot of ways to injure yourself on this mountain, and I think we might see it some today, as you alluded to, that exit from the snowfield onto the dry scree. That scree gets knocked down the mountainside, and at the upper part, it's more down to bedrock. It's not forgiving, and that transition from snow when you're sliding on your feet or your butt into that exposed bedrock can be interesting. We see a lot of the women here now, hands on the hips, pushing on the knees. At this point in the race, it's four-wheel drive. You got to be grabbing roots, you got to be grabbing tree branches, you're pushing off your legs, just trying to give a little bit of relief to those lower limbs, lower extremities, working extra hard as they make their way up Mount Marathon.
I remember my first time coming to this race and watching, I thought mountain running was a little bit of a misnomer. It looks like they're not going that fast, but I will tell you from experience, your heart is pounding out of your chest even at this pace. Here we are looking at last year's champion, Claire Rhodes. She's already building a little bit of a lead, which is a pretty good sign for her given her strength on the downhill, at least compared to Kendall Kramer. But we know that anything can happen in Mount Marathon. Crashes, injuries, falls, and it looks like we have a couple other competitors in pursuit.
Yeah, and a great shot from our drone pilot. John Thane, shout out to him, and the 16 other crew members of Tudor Road Studios bringing these fantastic images to the live stream. We got a Jumbotron sponsored by Hillcorp Alaska for the fans watching at the finish. And this is perfect footage, beautiful television, and it is a happy 4th to all of us here in Seward, Alaska. Claire Rhodes, sweat pouring down. There she is, your race leader. She has about 2 minutes now still to make it to that mid-mountain up. This could be a record-setting run. We'll know more in just a few. But she is approaching the junior turnaround, which marks the halfway point on the uphill for the adult race.
We had the juniors toe the line this morning at 9 a.m. Alaska time, and we saw 2 new junior champions. Vebjorn Flagstad of Anchorage took his first win in a time of 27:31, and then Callista Zuber, a race rookie, took the win for the junior women in a time of 32:14. So congratulations to both those competitors.
Yeah, and as a father of racers, I can tell you that the spirit starts young with a lot of these runners. There's a little road race that's probably occurring right now on Main Street. It happens during the first adult race, and that really inspires them. My girls got so inspired by watching these mountain warriors go up and down the mountain to the joys of the crowds and the cheers and just the hype that goes around this event. It's so inspiring. It makes people want to get involved. And in fact, there's been racers that have raced 55 or so mountain marathons. Just incredible, the spirit that lives on in this event and surrounding Mount Marathon is a lot of mystique. And like I said, if you can win this, you can become a legend.
I like to call Mount Marathon the Olympics of Alaska, right? It is such a big deal to win this race. And from experience, I feel like I was more nervous for this race than I was at the actual Olympics.
Yeah. And here again is Claire Rhodes. I imagine she's going to be looking forward to break out of this vegetation that kind of traps some of the breeze. Hopefully she can get a little breeze as well. The other athletes, as they break out of the vegetation, the top part of the mountain becomes all exposed rock. And there is a look from below, pointed up at that mid-mountain point. There's Claire Rhodes breaking into a trot. There's some mountain running for you. But it is, like I said, it is a grind to get up this climb.
It's a great technique to actually alternate between running and hiking. It uses different muscles, you know, and you fatigue a little bit differently. There is someone giving Claire Rhodes a drink. She took some in her mouth and then she poured some on her body.
So again, that mid-mountain record time for Allie McLaughlin in 2022 was 18:42. So I think we're just about 20 seconds back of that, still within striking distance, But right now, not quite on the pace of that record-setting run, but still looks like that gap is building. Kendall Kramer should still have eyes on that front person. We'll try and get a look at who's in third and live timing updates as they become available.
Fantastic footage and scenery of the Mount Marathon race. This is what makes this race so epic, right? If you're joining us from outside of Alaska or halfway across the world, you may be thinking, wow, Alaska is absolutely beautiful. And the scenery and the mountains and the rawness of this race is part of the allure.
Yeah, you can see in the inset there the town of Seward and the Seward Harbor. Below, there's a cruise ship docking. We are at the head of Resurrection Bay, just above Prince William Sound and the North Pacific. These mountains rise to 5,000 feet or higher right out of the water. Mount Marathon itself is about 3,022 feet up and just around 5 kilometers for this race. But it is the toughest 5K, no doubt, in the world. Here's a great look at Kendall Kramer now, hands on the knees, pushing with all her might, trying to keep Claire Rhodes in sight.
We should have some splits for you here shortly to see what the gaps are, right, for these competitors.
And I see her mid-mountain up time clocked on Skinny Raven timing at 20:08. So she is 26 seconds off of the record-setting time. But so far on establishing herself as a top contender for another win. She's going for her second win in this race. And like I said, she has been getting closer and closer to that win she grabbed last year. A little bit of a surprise still to see her come off that mountain first. A lot of veterans, like we saw there. I believe it was Christy Marvin, the 44-year-old out of Palmer. She's a 3-time Mount Marathon winner. She won in 2013, 16, and 2023. That should be noted that there was a 10-year gap in her wins. Super impressive. She won the government peak up and down race. That's one of our early Alaskan mountain running races that we have each season. And she was also second in the Kanoya Ridge Run. We are going to kick to break now on this live stream presented by Hillcorp Alaska. Please stay with us. We'll be back with more action in just a minute. And if you're on the live stream through the mountmarathon.com website, you are still with us. We did say we have a commercial break for the KTUU audience, but just to keep you updated on the race, Claire Rhodes has hit mid-mountain up at 20:08. Kendall Kramer sitting in second, 20:41, so about a little less than 30 seconds back. Callie McChrystal out of Squamish, BC, race rookie, is sitting in third, 20:53, just ahead of Christy Marvin. She's got a 20-second lead on Marvin, the 44-year-old from Palmer, Alaska. That's your top four to the mid-mountain up, and that is the extent of what the information I have from our live timing website. Beautiful shot there with Seward, Alaska in the background. Gives you a great perspective on just how steep this mountain is. It is unrelenting, and as they break out of the vegetation, it does not let up. There is some false summits, some you kind of see the horizon, you think you might be getting close, and it's really just another cliff band you got to get through on your way to the top.
I have to say it's pretty exciting to see a race rookie in third place. Callie McChrystal out of Squamish, BC. This is her rookie run, and she is in podium position. We have no idea what she has on the downhill, but she's showing some uphill prowess and keeping Claire Rhodes in sight.
And welcome back to the 97th running of Mount Marathon on the live stream presented by Hillcorp, Alaska. I'm Andrew Kasning. With me is two-time Mount Marathon champion and Olympic skier Holly Brooks. We are well above the mid-mountain mark now, and a great look just there of Claire Rhodes, your race leader at this point. She has a solid lead on Kendall Kramer and race rookie from Squamish, BC, Callie McChrystal, who is just ahead of Christy Marvin. We will continue to bring you updates from our top 10 as we see them hit that mid-mountain mark. I want to note a few others in the top 10. Wearing bib 6 is Denali Foldigal-Strabel. She is 35 years of age. She was 6th last year, and you'll notice that a lot of the women will wear the same bib number of the place that they took in last year's race. Denali is the downhill record holder with a time of 11 minutes, 27 seconds. Blazing time set in 2018, and the second fastest downhill in 2024. So if Denali is feeling it and near those race leaders at the top, she will be certainly in contention for a podium. We wish her the best. Big question mark, though, is that race rookie Callie McChrystal. She has some ski mountaineering background, so she may be comfortable tipping those shoulders forward and launching down those snow and scree fields. We're just going to have to wait and see. There's a huge local advantage to this race, I believe. Holly, you can speak more to that. But you see a lot of these Palmer athletes, Anchorage, Eagle River, and Seward making their mark because they have access to this race, to this mountain, and they can memorize every foothold, every step, and exactly where they need to make their turns to be the best that they could be.
It's nice to be able to preview the course, but you know, a big question mark is when did she get here? How many laps did she make? Does she know the course, right? How comfortable is she getting onto that snow, coming off the snow? You know, being from Squamish, BC, this is maybe in her wheelhouse, but again, the descent on Mount Marathon is like none other. But at the same time, we have seen other mountain runners, you know, Emily Forsberg, Allie McLaughlin, come through, and you know they were not locals and they still came through with the win. So it would be upsetting, I think, for Alaskans to see a race rookie from outside take the win, and we're going to see what Claire Rhodes, Kendall Kramer, and Christy Marvin can do about that. They're going to try to keep her off the podium, but it is going to be a battle to the finish line for sure.
Yeah, and some of the other women that are in contention now, I've got a few more times. Rosie Fordham, we mentioned earlier, out of the UAF ski team, is sitting in 5th. She hit the mid-mountain mark at 21:59. She's just ahead by 1 second of Meg Inokuma. Taylor Deal sitting 7th. Viviana Mina from Eagle River sitting 8th. Denali Strabel, who we just mentioned, is in 9th. And Katie Hauser from Palmer, Alaska, racing to her bib number in 10th. April McNally, 11th. Shauna Severson is 12th. And Sophie Wright, also from Palmer, is in 13th.
Here we are seeing the middle of the pack coming through the halfway point, and here we are again with the race leaders. That is 2024 defending champion Claire Rhodes in the blue shorts, putting the hurt on. You can see that there's a little bit of a breeze, which is going to be really nice. Her ponytail is waving in the wind. And that is 23-year-old Kendall Kramer chasing her down, hands on her legs. That is a wonderful shot of the Mount Marathon course. You can see the course switching across and going up the mountain. Like we said earlier, there is no set course. You can pick your own route, but there is one dominant route that is pretty much the most direct to the top.
Yeah, and these mountains were created by the Pacific Plate driving itself underneath the North American Plate and uplifting all these mountains. This rock is broken. It is jagged. There is going to be some scraped knees, no doubt some blood. And as these women make up their mountain, they're probably going to get some hand-ups with water. They're going to try to be dumping it on their head. 57 degrees might be on the cool side for most of North America, but here in Alaska, it is balmy, it is hot, and I can tell you that the beads of sweat are draining off these athletes' faces.
We're looking at three-time Mount Marathon champion Christy Marvin of Palmer, Alaska. Like Andrew said earlier, she had a 10-year streak of finishing on the podium, and she has Kelly McChrystal in her sight, right? She is chasing her down, and Christy is a fierce competitor, a mother of 3, and just a formidable competitor. She is a great downhiller, and so if she has any of these women in her sight, do not discount Christy Marvin.
I think this could play well to Callie McChrystal. If she's got a great descender like Christy Marvin there with her and she can follow a person like that down the mountain, that could really help Callie McChrystal as well in her race. So Callie's got a maybe 10-meter lead on Christy Marvin at this point. They're looking at 3rd and 4th place. And we are going to get close now for Claire Rhodes to the top and the turnaround point. The top record time set by Allie McLaughlin in 2022 was 34 minutes, 17 seconds. So she's got a little bit of time to get there, but it's going to be a challenge. That was a blazing fast time from Allie McLaughlin. We mentioned earlier that Claire Rhodes is only the 4th woman to break 50 minutes. And this race started as a bar bet of 2 sourdoughs sitting in there trying to wager their fishing money on who could get up and down this mountain. One said he could do it in under an hour, and the other said no way. And now here we are with these women going under 50 minutes. Just impressive feat of the human spirit and the Alaskan grit and stubborn determination.
We're about 30 minutes into this race, and last year, Claire Rhodes and Kendall Kramer crested the top, or at least rounded the flag, at 36 minutes. And so they have about 6 minutes to go. You can see some of these false summits that Andrew was talking about. This is great drone footage. We can see the top 4 contenders here and the space between them. On the right, you see part of the snow, which may be part of the descent. You can see Kelly McChrystal maybe slowing up a little bit on some of that shale, and Christy Marvin pulling her in. Christy Marvin in the pink shirt, a mother of 3, 44 years old. Lots of experience on this mountain under her belt. And if I was Kelly McChrystal, I might want to tuck in right behind Christy and say to myself, hey, this woman knows what she's doing. I'm going to follow her.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to know if she's aware of exactly who just passed her up this mountain. Christy Marvin got that fishing reel out, reeled her in, and just took over 3rd place. there. So we have the top 3 now up above us. That is Christy Marvin in the pink top. And like you said, I think Callie McChrystal will be smart to try and get on the heels of Christy Marvin, see if she can tuck in there and hang on to the podium position of 3rd. There is the look at the top and gives you a little bit of perspective on just how far they have to go to get to the turnaround.
Last year's race, Christy Marvin and Claire Rhodes descended in almost the exact same time, 13:22 and 13:23. So they had a 1 second difference. I will say last year, Christy Marvin was injured and she spent 6 weeks before this race away from running. She was doing most of her training, cross training on a bike. I know that she has been on her feet more this year, so we'll see what she has in those downhill legs. She is also very fast on the road. And so it would be exciting for all the spectators to see the race come down to the road.
Absolutely, and we can see Kendall Kramer in the yellow top there working her way up, and it almost looked like Christy and Callie were kind of reeling her in 2nd place as well. So a great late surge up the 2nd half of this climb from McChrystal and Marvin. Again, Callie McChrystal in her rookie year out of Squamish, BC. So impressive to throw down a performance like this so far when you're not from this state.
Fabulous footage of the Mount Marathon ascent. Look at those squiggly lines and all the women just pouring out their hearts and their effort on the uphill. There's a lot of camaraderie. There's a lot of cheering for each other between big, deep breaths, right? And then, you know, also spectators on the mountain offering water, offering a little water down the back or for the gullet, for the mouth. You know, these women are suffering here, and this is a hard race. There we have another view of Christy Marvin in the pink, Callie McChrystal, race rookie of Squamish, BC, right behind her. She tucked in. You know, who knows if she knows who she's following, but I'm sure, you know, as an experienced runner, she has done her homework.
Beautiful shot of Resurrection Bay there as they ascend this mountain. And then you check out the bottom banner there. You can get some of the places of the further back competitors. So great shot here on this live stream presented by Hillcorp, Alaska. It's the 97th running of Mount Marathon, and it is a beautiful day here at the head of Resurrection Bay. We should have some updated times here in a little bit as Claire Rhodes gets to the top point. We'll get a time check as she turns around the flagpole, the stars and bars waving proudly at the top. And there's a look at, you can see Kendall Kramer in the upper right of your screen. And I do feel like that Christy Marvin might be reeling her in a little bit. So some of that race veteran, that wily veteranness that Christy Marvin brings to this race every single year, injury or not. With her early season race results, it seems like Christy is in better shape and certainly healthier than she was a year ago. So this could be a big day for the Palmer woman.
Claire Rhodes has a pretty healthy lead. She's about 2 minutes from the top, according to her pace last year. As Andrew said, the top of the race point is the American flag. You round the top, you crest the summit or the false summit. This isn't actually the top of Mount Marathon, but it is the top of race point. Last year, she crested the flag in a time of 36 minutes and 27 seconds. We're going to see what kind of pace she has. It looks like right now she has a comfortable lead over 2nd place competitor Kendall Kramer. But like we've said, anything can happen in Mount Marathon, especially with this snowfield this year, Andrew.
Yeah, and Claire Rhodes is such a great trail runner. She'll probably appreciate a nice, comfy lead here at the top. Maybe I don't have to risk as much going into the downhill. She has placed 21st in the Trail World Championships in Innsbruck, Austria. Her, alongside her boyfriend, Trace Knopp, have qualified for the World Championship trail running coming up in the Pyrenees Mountains in Spain a little bit later this summer. She is, again, sponsored by North Face. And there's a good look at the inset of her approaching the summit. Breaking into a jog now, and she can smell the top here and the turnaround point.
You can see she still has a little bit of ways to go. There are some false summits. You know, as a racer, you keep thinking, oh, the top must be just right there. And then it keeps going. So here she is breaking out into a jog. checking her clock, checking her time, checking her own split, and you know, she's probably aware of how far back the women are. She has some kind of awareness. Here she is, Claire Rhodes, your current leader,
And we
your
even got a
defending
little
champion.
We even got a little audio there of her heavy breathing. That gives you an idea of the effort that she's putting in to make it to the top. And it's looking like she'll pretty much match her time. A little bit slower, but almost right on her time of last year, the winning time.
We have some good audio of people, hardy volunteers and spectators cheering her on at the top. There you can see the American flag. She's going to turn around it, and right in front of the American flag, we will get an official time check. Check out this footage. This is Alaska, folks.
Yeah, and so the down track's going to be a little different now, right? They're going to head into sort of a figure-8 pattern. She's going to break off to our looker's left here. And we'll see now if she's going to tackle this snowfield and go for a glissade slide or try to stick to more solid ground and keep solid footing.
You know, right here, there's a lot of anticipation. And here she is getting onto the snow. It looks like she's okay, like on her butt, but also on her feet a little bit. And I'll tell you, there are some rocks hidden in that snow, which is quite dangerous. Right there. There you go.
Look at this drone shot of her glissading, butt sliding down, whatever it takes.
Goodness.
It's like a luge run on this mountain right now.
Oh my goodness. You can see all the dark spots are potential rocks. And you know, the hardest, most technical part of this race is potentially coming off of this snow. There she is. She said, okay, I've had enough. I'm going to do a standing glissade, and then, oh, nope, falling back down. This is the technical part of Mount Marathon. And there she is. She makes a smooth transition from the snow to the rocks. That is a really hard section. And we have heard from lots of people with lots of experience on Mount Marathon, that bedrock is a hard surface. On yours, where we've seen more precipitation, it has a little bit more forgiveness and bounciness. But here we go, Claire Rhodes making a smooth descent thus far.
Yeah, I think that was perfect off the snowfield into the scree. She looks so good right here, in control, blazing down this hill. And there is Kendall Kramer, second to come around the stars and bars at the top of the mountain. She is in second place. And we will look for some times here updated as they come about. Claire Rhodes hit that uphill mark at 36 minutes, 59 seconds, just under 37-minute mark. And she is blazing down. You can see the supersonic scree clouds kicking off of her feet. And like you said, it is dry up there. As she gets further down, she'll get a little more of scree cushions to maybe work with. But right here, the bedrock is not too far down underneath that scree. And there's some hard sections she's contending with as she makes her way. Here's now Kendall Kramer glissading. Good technique there, staying balanced. Maybe not quite as fast as we saw Claire. Again, probably has the Olympics on her mind. The Winter Olympics is her main focus. It would be sweet to see her hold on to second. She's going to have her work to do with Christy Marvin bearing down on third.
Claire Rhodes, last year's defending champion, with a comfortable lead, and she made that snow slide look easy. So Kendall Kramer looking a little bit more cautious on the snow, and Christy Marvin was breathing down her back. She crested ahead of Kaylee McChrystal, and she definitely has her in her sights. Here we are, race leader, defending champion, Claire Rhodes, 27 years old, running for the North Face. She is on the descent and coming up to that midpoint where you literally cross the up track. And so hopefully there are some volunteers there ready to say, hey, ladies, the race leader is coming through.
Yeah, she's about to sweep across the mountainside, runner's right, and she will cross over that up track right where the junior turnaround point is. And then she heads into a much bigger scree field, a little bit softer, a little bit deeper, and really could start to send it if she feels like she needs to. Right now, though, a comfortable lead, looking great through that upper mountain tundra, and this is a beautiful shot of your race leader, North Face athlete Claire Rhodes, on her way towards the finish.
You can see this beautiful scenery, lush green, and then the purple are the lupin. So Mount Marathon is covered with some good wildflowers, and here Claire Rhodes is coming. You can see racers going up, and your race leader, Claire Rhodes in the blue shorts just crossed the up track, and here she is.
Yeah, she found a hole shot there, no break in stride. She is on her way now. What are the next few names of the course elements that she's looking to go through now?
Well, there she is. She's just crossing. There's the junior turnaround, that pole on the upper right side. She is descending the last part of the scree, and then she will enter what's known as the gut, which is really like an active waterfall. There you go. There's the rest of the scree. When I did this yesterday, I will say it was a lot harder, or the surface was a lot, a lot harder than it has been in years past when we've had more rain. So it makes it hard to get a footing. It makes it really easy to fall. Claire Rhodes making it look easy right now, putting on a bit of a clinic. No one else is in sight. We need to get our eyes on the second place competitor, but right now Claire Rhodes making it look easy, potentially on her way to win number 2.
Yes, she had a minute now. I got some times updated. A minute 35 lead on Kendall Kramer. I think the race now to watch will be Callie McChrystal and Christy Marvin chasing down Kendall Kramer. Those are your descenders that are chasing down the UAF skier. They need to make up just over 30 seconds to do that. I see Christy Marvin hit that uphill at 39.02. She has a 3-second lead on Callie McChrystal, and she is 28 seconds behind Kendall Kramer. There's Christy Marvin there. She may have already passed Kendall Kramer, we're not sure, but look at her go down the mountain.
Christy Marvin in hot pursuit, lots of experience on this mountain. Like we said, she had a 10-year streak where she was on the podium, and it was only last year she finished 5th due to that injury, but still so impressive, spending 6 weeks away from running and then to come in 5th in this race. She has a lot of experience. Who knows if it's going to be enough to catch Claire Rhodes, but Christy is the ultimate competitor, and she will not give way until the end, until that finish line down here, right in front of the Yukon bar.
And we got top 7 times now through the turnaround point at the top of the mountain. In 7th, Taylor Deal with a time of 40:57. She is about 45 seconds behind Meg Inokuma, who is just behind Viviana Mina in 5th, Callie McChrystal 4th, and then again Christy Marvin in 3rd. We'll be looking for Rosie Fordham, Donali Strabel, and Katie Hauser probably to be reaching the summit here any second. And there's a few more of the athletes at the turnaround point with the American flag waving proudly at the top here on the 4th of July.
Claire Rhodes is most likely in what's known as the gut, which is the bottom part of the descent. It is an active waterfall. And so like Andrew said earlier, the gut actually has more scree. It has more rocks in it than years past, making it a little cushier to go down and to descend, making it potentially a little faster. Then after the gut, Claire Rhodes will need to descend and come down what's known as the cliffs. Some of the competitors go up the cliffs, but then you also come down the cliffs, and there will be a cop car waiting at the bottom of Mount Marathon to let spectators know that the race leader has hit the road.
There's a good shot of bib 22, the 28-year-old Sarah Cosgrave, making her 3rd Mount Marathon race here, and managing that snowfield quite well. It's easy to get out of control on that snowfield. We saw Claire Rhodes do a perfect clinic on that, controlling her speed, but I've seen that go very wrong as you leave the snowfield and enter the hard bedrock of the rocks below.
We're 45 minutes into this race. Last year, Claire's winning time, was 49 minutes and 49 seconds. And so it seems like she is on a fairly similar pace, and it's less than 5 minutes until we see if she crosses the finish line first, defends her title.
Yeah, and I'd imagine Claire Rhodes now in the thick of the gut. There's waterfall sections to contend with down there as you approach the bottom of the mountain. There's a couple options to choose from as you leave the mountain. There's a great option that has some switchbacks if it's dry, which it is this year, and then otherwise you're going over some cliff bands, 60-degree cliffs, 10 to 20 feet tall. Do not want to slip, and then you're back down into that area where we see a lot of fans that watch from, the water tanks, and then you're onto the streets on to Jefferson Avenue, and then it's a turn to 4th to the joy of the crowds below, ready to cheer her on. And it looks like she's going to have it in the bag. I don't see, unless something drastic happens in that last few features she's got to get through on the descent, she should have her second Mount Marathon victory in grasp.
In the gut, there are always a couple of hardy spectators and people cheering on the race competitors, but it is quite quiet and eerie compared to when you break off the mountain. There are literally thousands of people waiting at the base to see who comes out first, who is winning the race. These I think are spectators right now.
I believe so.
They're hustling to get out of the way. There we are. There we have our eyes on defending champion Claire Rhodes of Anchorage, Alaska. A little nod at her watch. She's 47 minutes in, about 3 minutes from her time from last year. So we should see the cop car here shortly, letting all these spectators know, hey, get out of the way. Our race leader is coming through.
There's a few more spectators making their way down, trying to see some of the finish line. We got a hot dog coming down through. I think I saw Gumby running the race. There's kind of this Gumby costume that's been passed around amongst veteran racers, and who gets to wear it is quite the honor. But you do have to wear it all the way up through the sweatiness. There's probably 15 layers of sweat in that Gumby costume, and probably some on that hot dog costume as well. That looks like Meg Inokuma, I think, coming down through our screen now. Looking good. Well on her feet and using the arms for balance, catching herself. And that's probably Rosie Fordham right there with her in the yellow. Not sure who's in pink just yet, but we'll do our best to bring you these names as we find them.
Waiting to get our eyes on the race leader. That looks like Kelly McChrystal right there. But it is unclear what place she is in. There we are. There we have our defending champion, Claire Rhodes, on her way to her second victory, following the police car. No one else in sight just yet. The big question is, where is Christy? What is that gap? Was she able to pull Claire Rhodes in on that technical descent, which is in her wheelhouse?
And there's the police escort. An absolutely beautiful race run by Claire Rhodes today. The 97th running in the women's race. It's going to belong to Claire Rhodes, North Face athlete out of Palmer, Alaska. A huge performance. Her second win. She looks in control, comfortable, with a big smile on her face. Claire Rhodes with just a few blocks now to the finish line and her second victory of Mount Marathon. And there's the rounding to the corner. 4th Avenue in sight, and just over a few blocks away from the finish. The finish lies just beyond the start. You can see the Mount Marathon race banner. That's where they started. She's going to have to go a block or two farther to the finish line. And this is a beautiful performance from Claire Rhodes, her second win at this prestigious event.
There she was, taking a little peek at her clock, her watch. Last year, her time was 49 minutes and 49 seconds. And so right now, I bet she's wondering, can I PR? Can I break my time from last year? I don't think she's going to do it. She's a little bit off pace.
Yeah, based on last year, I think she got a little push on the uphill from Kendall Kramer, and this time dropped Kendall early on in the race, took over that lead and never let go. She looks well in control. She is looking very smooth. And this was I don't want to say a breeze, but she did it in style. She put on a clinic. She is the Mount Marathon champion for the women's. And a big congratulations to Claire Rhodes.
Claire Rhodes racing most of the race, if not all of the race, by herself. The uphill, the downhill, and the road. No one is in sight. There we have it, your 2025 Mount Marathon champion, Claire Rhodes, representing Alaska, bringing home the glory. There we have 44-year-old Christy Marvin in the pink, running down 4th Street. She is making it look easy. Kelly McChrystal in pursuit. We think that she is in 3rd. Here comes Christy coming in as runner-up, taking her spot back on the podium, making it look easy. Christy Marvin, mother of 3.
And as you said earlier, fantastic road runner. You can see it here. Christy Marvin just charging down these Seward streets. Game face on, grit in her teeth. She knows that that she's got competition behind her, but she wants second place bad. This would be a great result for her. Not the win, but another podium, and a huge one for the 44-year-old mother from Palmer, Alaska. Looks like her time was just over 51 minutes, 20 seconds. Here is the Canadian Callie McChrystal in her rookie year, taking third place. A huge effort, remarkable performance from the Canadian. Looking good, showing a smile to the crowd. This is what really grabs these athletes and wants them to return every single year. Mountain Marathon can get in your blood, and it's the energy of the crowd, the vibe of this event that brings these athletes back time and time again. There's Meg Inokuma on your right, and bib 7. Believe that is April McNally with a big surge. She was a little ways back on the uphill as Callie McChrystal. Here's the roar of the crowd, approaches the finish line, does some air guitar and a bow. Callie McChrystal takes third. We are nearing the end of the K2U broadcast. We're going to try and get a quick interview from our race winner, Claire Rhodes. We'll see if we can pull that off before we go to break.
I'm here with 2025 Mount Marathon champion Claire Rhodes. Claire, this is your second win. It looked like you raced the whole race alone. Give us the play-by-play.
Yeah, I feel like we started out really hot on the road, and I was around Rosie and Kendall, and then I kind of found myself alone. I expected them to be with me a little bit longer, and I was worried that I was going out too hard, but I just tried to stick with it and get as much of a gap as possible because I knew our local ladies would be charging behind me on the downhill.
Congratulations, you make that look easy. You're a 2-time Mount Marathon winner. We hope you'll be back for more.
Absolutely, thank you.
Yes, a huge congratulations, and thanks for joining us on America's Birthday for the Women's. If you want to watch your finishers come across the line, there's a separate feed, and the live stream will continue on mountmarathon.com, presented by Hillcorp, Alaska. And thanks for sticking with us on the live stream at mountmarathon.com, presented by Hillcorp, Alaska. We have a few more finishes now coming across the line. And a little bit ago, I do believe that I saw Denali Foldiger-Strabel had passed Kendall Kramer on the descent. So Kendall really shut it down despite being second to the top. She's going to lose a few places coming to the finish line. We are looking for some updated results. And right now we're going to go to Holly Brooks, who's standing by with Christy Marvin at the finish. Your 2025 Mount Marathon second place finisher.
I'm standing here with Christy Marvin. You're back on the podium after last year. You were 5th place, but before that you had a 10-year streak of being on the Mount Marathon podium. You have so much experience in this race. Tell us something about today.
You know, I think it's really important as just a message to all the kids out there, both my own and all the kids that I coach. So often we let our nerves get the best of ourselves and pock us out of what we're actually capable of doing. And I think it's so important to remember that just representing your best self is all that anyone can expect of you, even you, on race day. And so to just go out there, have fun with it, know that you put the work in. And for me, I may not be as good as I once was, but I'm experienced as I ever was, and so I take that experience in and I use that to my advantage where I might otherwise be physically lacking. And I think that, you know, I have a different race every year based off of my training, and I'm able to be fairly consistent just because of that positive outlook. And so that's just what I want to share with kids. Like, just go have fun with it, be positive.
Thank you for the words of wisdom, and congratulations, Christy. You had a wonderful performance. And
thank you to all the volunteers and all the amazing people out here that make this happen so we can come have fun. So we appreciate all of you, the running community, the fans, family, friends, everybody. And Holly.
Gracious as always. I'll throw it back to you for a moment, Andrew.
And we got a few more updates now on the finish. Looks like Callie McChrystal takes third. Meg Inokuma with a solid downhill took over fourth. April McNally is fifth. Shauna Severson from Eagle River with a very impressive sixth. Viviana Mina takes seventh. Denali Strabel, who we did see crossing the line, passed Kendall Kramer to take eighth. Kendall Kramer is in ninth, and Katie Hauser rounds out your top 10. We're going to go back to Holly Brooks at the finish line.
I'm standing here with race rookie from Squamish, BC, Kaylee McChrystal. It was your first time racing this race. What do you think of Mount Marathon?
Oh, I was so excited to do this race. I love the steep ups and downs, and seeing Jessie last year come third, who's a friend of mine from home, really kind of like inspired me to actually apply this year and go for it. It was such a blur on the race course, but it was so much fun, just like letting the legs go and bumping up and down off your butt and trying to chase these super fast women. I had a great time, and I hope other Canadians see this and are inspired to come next year and the years after.
We're so happy that you joined us. Congratulations, landing on the podium, your rookie run. Congratulations, and welcome to Alaska.
Thanks, and I just want to say thanks to everybody, all the volunteers, all the spectators, the race directors. It's such an amazing community event, and you really feel the love the whole week we were here. So couldn't be happier to stand on the podium.
Another gracious competitor thanking all of the volunteers and everyone that it takes to put on a race like this. So congratulations to all of the female competitors. We still have many coming in. Like Andrew said, 333 female racers towed the line this morning. So they are coming in and being cheered in by thousands of spectators right at the finish line in front of the Yukon Bar. Andrew, I'll let you go over a summary of the results.
Yeah, thanks, Holly. Good interviews there. Every one of these women, a mountain warrior. Everyone tackled something, not just the mountain, but some sort of inner drive that may say slow down, may say stop. But they pushed forward. They climbed to the top, and they descended through snow, through scree, through roots, rocks, and cliffs to the joys of the crowds below. What a performance by all of them. A huge performance by Claire Rhodes, taking her second win. A shout out again to Christy Marvin, your second place finisher. And to round out the podium, a brand new race rookie from Squamish, BC, Callie McChrystal. And we got there's the Gumby we mentioned earlier at the summit, making the turnaround. Still lots of competitors to go. There was 3 waves of women racers towing the line today. As Holly said, 333 competitors, quite the field. And the men's race will be getting going on a separate feed. I hope you can join us for that as well. Presented by Hill Corp Alaska. The race is sponsored by the North Face and Arc'teryx, as well as a few others. We appreciate all the sponsors, and as Callie mentioned, all the volunteers, all the effort and energy that goes in to make this event what it is. They are all appreciative. It is the spirit of America that lives on here on the 4th of July in Seward, Alaska. And that men's race will be getting going at 2 o'clock this afternoon, so lots of action to come as we see some of these women still making their way to the finish, getting a lot of cheers from the crowd. There's probably 10 to 20,000 spectators in Seward, this tiny seaside community, here to see this event.
That is a notable time where women tried to break that hour mark. And so now we're over an hour into the race, but these women are still putting down and throwing down amazing results. Number 21 just crossed the line. That was Carrie Koso of Wasilla, Alaska. And there, I think we saw Gumby descending down the snowshoot. That would be a little bit difficult with the lack of visibility.
Yeah, hard to see out of that suit, I imagine. And look at all these athletes making their way up the mountain. It is a grind at times, but like I said, they're all conquering some piece of themselves as well as conquering this giant hillside. To round out your top 10, Rosie Fordham did take over 10th. She was just behind teammate Kendall Kramer. Denali Strabel with an awesome downhill time. We'll see if we can get splits on that downhill time, but she was able to move up to 8th place just behind Viviana Mina from Eagle River. Shauna Severson takes 6th. April McNally is in 5th. Meg Inokuma with also a great descent was moved up to 4th, just off the podium behind Callie McChrystal, Christy Marvin, and Claire Rhodes.
Both Christy Marvin and Kaylee McChrystal giving a huge shout out to the organizing committee, race volunteers, acknowledging just how many people it takes to put on an event like this. Between the race secretaries, people running safety. Oh, I know that we have 16 people on the broadcast team running the cameras and the drones, bringing you these live shots.
So Claire Rhodes' downhill time was 7th best today, 13 minutes, 33 seconds. Taking the downhill, which is always kind of a notch in the belt or an extra special kind of thing to do, is how fast you get down this mountain. Christy Marvin took it in 12 minutes, 20 seconds. She had the fastest downhill time. Ahead of April McNally, should be noted, was 11 seconds behind Christy. And Shauna Severson with a blazing fast downhill time of 12:51. So that's your top 3 descenders today in the 97th running of Mount Marathon.
We're getting an active shot here, a live shot of the top of Race Point. You can see women ascending, in close proximity. They will round the flag, and then they will start the descent on the rocks and enter the snow. Some competitors opting to do a sitting glissade in a big trough, others opting for a standing glissade, or maybe if they are more nervous, trying to step or walk down the mountain.
Yeah, and hopefully you've gotten the gist, if you watch this, just how difficult this 5K is. We don't call it the toughest 5K in the world for nothing. It is extreme up, extreme down with all sorts of elements, all sorts of things that can go wrong. And it is one of the biggest challenge athlete events on a short distance I think that you'll find anywhere in the world. It's produced legends. There's legendary stories to go along with it, beginning with its origins in a bar bet and continues on today with the 97th running. I don't know if you have any of those legendary stories that go along with this race, Holly, but there's so much lore to this event, and it builds on itself every single year.
I will say one of my favorite parts of this race is the camaraderie and the storytelling at the finish line. Lots of competitors congratulating each other, giving each other props, and just the endorphin rush that you get after competing in a race like Mount Marathon is extreme. Here we are, a little sprint to the finish. That's Kinsey Lone, number 40, taking that sprint.
Yeah, and you can see even these mid-pack racers throwing their arms up in the air. I mean, this is a victory. You finish this race, you're a winner in my book. Even if you're not standing at the top of the podium, it is such a challenge to make it through unscathed with all your limbs and parts and ankles intact, knees still working, and these athletes are doing that today.
We're looking at number 37, Emily Moore, 19 years old from Eagle River, making her way to the finish line in a very festive shirt. There we are, Sophie Wright in the stars and bars, the sports bra there. This is kind of the camaraderie that we're talking about. So little pain face to the finish line, and then usually nothing but smiles, right, after you cross the finish line.
There's Shelby Dykstra, 33-year-old, bib 62, crossing the line.
We're now an hour and 5 minutes into this women's race. Like we shared before, there were 333 competitors that started in 3 separate waves. So at some point, it is going to be hard to tell what their actual race time is, because it's going to depend on when they started the race. But all of these competitors just throwing down massive efforts, getting cheered on, handing out some high fives.
All right, and if you're wondering about a certain specific competitor that told you to tune into this live stream, I would invite you to go over. We have a finish line cam in case our live stream ends ahead of your favorite athlete coming across the line. This whole deal is brought to you by Hillcorp, Alaska. We got a big Jumbotron overlooking the finish, bringing this live stream also to the spectators in person. And we got fans worldwide tuning in to see this event. So glad you could join us on America's birthday for the 97th running of Mount Marathon. As these athletes continue to stream in, there is bib 54, that is Cassandra Delgado, 38-year-old. Done this race a few times. That may be one of her top results. There is bib 46, that is Maddie Shu. And she is also just 19 years of age. So you gotta be 19 to run the adult race. There's Sarah Frystone working towards the finish line. Great game face there. Yeah, and so 19 is the youngest you can be in this event. You can run the junior race from age 9 to 18. That's the halfway mark up the mountain.
Elise Loren of Anchorage stopping her watch. If you're just joining us, Claire Rhodes, well, she repeated, right? She repeated her win from last year. She came through as the Mount Marathon champion. 2 wins under her belt. She made it look easy.
We'd like to thank you again for joining us on the Hillcorp Alaska live stream. We'll be back at 2 o'clock on a different link for the men's race. Until then, a happy 4th of July. Tip back those sudsy suds, have a drink, and cheer on these athletes. Thanks for watching.